What's up, man? I want to talk about Keith Thurman, man. Y'all see the title? It's time. I'm telling Keith Thurman as a supporter of Keith Thurman, like Keith Thurman's style, like Keith Thurman's mentality. Yes, we know he had an injury, so he was out for what 17, 18 months. He came back, fought Josecito Lopez, had a tough round versus Josecito Lopez. Everybody thought Keith Thurman had a tough fight. He only had a tough round. People said he lost the fight or the fight was close. It shouldn't have been that close. No, Keith Thurman outclassed himself aside for one round. Josecito Lopez. Yes, I know Josecito Lopez is not on Keith Thurman's level, but Josecito Lopez know how to handle himself, man. He's been in the ring with Alvarez. He's been in the ring with Berto. He's been in the ring with goddamn Victor Ortiz, broke Victor Ortiz jaw. He's been in the ring with Jesse Vargas. He's been in the ring with some credible fighters, man. And in every one of those fights, he gave. Now he didn't have him in trouble like Keith Thurman was in trouble versus him. I get that, but he gave them guys some competitive rounds. So I wasn't surprised that he gave Keith Thurman a nice run. I thought it would have been more rounds. That it was. I thought the fight would be more competitive as far as rounds, but Josecito Lopez had a very good round. I believe it was round 7. But it's time for Keith Thurman to make that move, man. It's time for Keith Thurman to go ahead and fight Sean Porter. Let Earl Spence fight Pacquiao. That seems to be the fight that he wants. At the Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter decisively in other people's mind this time. I thought the last fight that he had versus Sean Porter was very, very competitive. But I thought Keith Thurman won 8-4. But I thought it was a very, very competitive fight. You can have a very, 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 very competitive fight, and the rounds be a little bit, more towards the guy who won the fight, which I thought Keith Thurman won 8-4. Everybody got their opinions on that fight. But this time he needs to either knock Sean Porter out, have Sean Porter father throw in the towel, or have the referee stop the fight. He needs to decisively beat Sean Porter this time. And then he needs to fight Earl Spence, because none of these guys are talking about fighting Crawford right now, right? None of these guys are they're barely mentioning Crawford. From Danny Garcia to Sean Porter. Sean Porter talks about him a little bit. Sean Porter talks about him and say he really don't want to fight Crawford because Crawford is his friend. And you got Keith Thurman who mentioned Crawford but don't mention Crawford like that's a fight that's going to happen with him. And we know Earl Spence and Crawford had words, face to face. And Earl Spence said he going to take the easy route. He ain't going to fight Crawford. But like I said, it's time for Keith Thurman to make his move. Yes, Keith Thurman was unified champion. He's still the only unified champion of the last, since Mayweather retired. He's the only unified champion since Mayweather retired. So he had the WBA, he had the WBC. He let the WBC go. A lot of people say he got stripped, but he said he relinquished it because he didn't want to hold up, guys fighting. Okay. So Sean Porter faced Danny Garcia. Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia. Now it's time, and recent, both of those guys had lost to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Keith Thurman is still the only man to defeat two welterweights in the top 10. Because I don't think Adrian Broner was in the top 10 when Manny Pacquiao fought him. I have to look. I don't think so. But he's still the only guy that defeated two welterweights in the top 10. It's currently in the top 10. I believe Danny Garcia is still in the top 10. So we just witnessed Earl Spence beat Mikey Garcia, who moved up 2 weight classes. That was his first fight at welterweight, so he clearly won in the top 10. Before that, Earl Spence beat Lamont Peterson, who recently retired after losing to Limpinez, who wasn't in the top 10 of welterweights. Sean Porter did beat Danny Garcia, who was in the top 10. Danny Garcia, I don't think Danny Garcia ever beat a top 10 welterweight, to be honest with you. Keith Thurman he lost a lot of momentum with the injury. We all know that. Lost a great amount of momentum because he had great momentum after he beat and defeated Danny Garcia. He had really good momentum, got hurt. Now, what he needs to do is he needs to fight, like I said, he needs to come back. He needs to come back this summer, defeat Sean Porter decisively, and then if he wants to fight Earl Spence next year, I'm okay with that. Long as he defeats Sean Porter this year, this summer, decisively. Not no controversial, not no close, nothing close. Beat that man, go for the knockout. Period. Because I thought Keith Thurman could have knocked out Sean Porter if he would have set his feet in that fight for longer than what he set his feet. He didn't really set his feet and really punch Sean Porter for no more than a minute in the fight, minute and a half in the fight. He was mostly circling around, Sean Porter, and sometimes catching his back up against the ropes. But this time he needs to set his feet and he needs to get rid of Sean Porter. Because Sean Porter is there to get hit. Everybody that fights Sean Porter hits him a lot. Ugas just hit Sean Porter a lot, with a lot of power shots. That I know that Keith Thurman is the most explosive, hardest puncher at the welterweight division. He's the most dangerous puncher at welterweight because of his explosiveness. He punch out of nowhere. He can just explode on you and just knock you down. You know what I'm saying? Flash knockdowns and stuff like that, or get you really, really, really hurt. So that's what Keith Thurman needs to do. He need to commit to knocking guys out again. That's what he needs to do. Because with Keith Thurman injuries, he doesn't have a lot of time. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's 29, 30 maybe. So he doesn't have a lot of time, man. Just like Sean Porter. Sean Porter been in some wars, man. Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook. So he's been in some wars. So I don't think Sean Porter. I made a video about that. I don't think Sean Porter has a whole lot left. I really don't. I really don't think Sean Porter has a whole lot left. That many fights, that many wars left. Put it that way. He has some great fights still left in him, but I don't think he has a lot. I think Sean Porter has about maybe 2, maybe 3 great fights left in him. So he has to get the ball rolling. And this welterweight division, then this stuff has to come to a end, man. We need to see who's the best welterweight. I was calling for a tournament that they should have a welterweight tournament, man. Put 8 people in there and, man, let's go. Round robin. Even if y'all want to put it on pay-per-view. I'm not an advocate of paying for it on pay-per-view, but if they say we're going to have a welterweight tournament and it's going to be on pay, I will support it because I know at the end we're going to have an undisputed champion at the end. And we're going to have some really great fights because you got Crawford, you got Keith, you got Danny, you got Earl Spence, you got Sean, you can put Ugas in there, you can put Pacquiao in there. You know what I'm saying? And what other 2 people you can put in there, whatever. But you're going to get some really, really good round robin fights, man. So even if they say, hey, it's going to be on pay-per-view, I'll support it. I'm not a big supporter of pay-per-view, but I support it because at the end, we're going to see who the best is. Everybody can stop speculating, stop talking, stop arguing. Because I hate arguing about who's the best when these guys are right here, right now, and we can see them fight. It's not like saying, man, we arguing about Ray Leonard against Floyd or some shit like that. We not arguing. I'm saying that can be ongoing, and that's okay. That can be an argument, a credible argument that they not in the same era, so they not gonna fight. But these guys can fight each other, and we're arguing over or debating over fighters. All they have to do is pick up the phone or ask for a meeting and get the fights done, man. A lot of these fights are just a paper and pen away from making the fight. Pen to paper. Pen to paper. I will agree to fight this fighter, come in at this welterweight limit and place, time, and all that stuff. So it's time for Keith Thurman to make his move, man. It's really like now or never. You know what I'm saying? He's the super WBA champion. Pacquiao is the regular WBA champion. So I don't know. See, this is how the WBA do it from my recollection. The guy that has the regular title, like Pacquiao, will have to do all the mandatories. And because Keith Thurman has the super WBA championship, he doesn't have to worry about mandatories. So one thing about Keith Thurman, he don't have any mandatories in his way. No obstacles in his way. So he can fight Sean Porter next. And plus, Jose Sulaiman said he has the right to pull that card and say, I want to fight Sean Porter for the WBC championship, because really what it is like Keith Thurman is like the WBC champion in, you know what I'm saying, on pause. You know what I'm saying? So he can go in there and let's just say Earl Spence want to fight Sean Porter. Keith Thurman can come in and say, no, I want to fight Sean Porter. And WBC promised me when I'm ready to fight for the WBC title, I can trump anybody. So yes, he can come in but he needs to do it. To me, he needs to do it now. He don't need another. He don't need another one more fight. That was a good one more fight that he had with Josecito Lopez. He got a training camp out the way, and he got a fight out the way. Now he will have another training camp before he fights Sean Porter. And Sean Porter just came off a tough fight versus Ugas. He won the fight. I had Sean Porter winning a close fight. Sean Porter's a champion. You can't go in there. You got to take the belt from the champion. So I thought some rounds was close. I thought you had some clear rounds in there with Ugas won. You had some clear rounds in there with Sean won. But I gave Sean the fight for about, I say Sean won about 2 rounds. Now, you can give, if Sean Porter wasn't the champion, I think I would have gave the fight to Ugas by 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? I gave 2 rounds, close rounds, I'm giving them to the champion. So I gave them to Sean Porter. So, you know what I'm saying? I know I came out and said Ugas won, but when you really think about it, the champion has to get the close rounds, man. A lot of the close rounds, not all of them, but a lot of them. But like I said, it's time for Keith Thurman to go ahead, man, and fight Sean Porter, man, and then fight Earl Spence. Because right now, Earl Spence is hot. Right now, you got the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. He just fought Mikey Garcia, a highly respected Latino fighter. And, you know, he came out. People got to see another side of Earl Spence, per se. They said he boxed very well, which a lot of those guys before Earl Spence boxed very well versus Mikey Garcia was all about man down, all about knockouts. But now they're about, you know, the sweet science, whatever, man. But like I said, I seen an interview of Keith Thurman. I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. He did an interview with someone, and he said that Earl Spence's name wasn't big enough or something like that. But now his name is big enough to the point that a lot of people want to think that Earl Spence is the best welterweight. Some people think Crawford is, some people think Keith Thurman is, but it's a swelled up, you know, Earl Spence fan base that thinks he's the best. So now is the time to go fight Earl Spence. Now is the time. I mean, it's no other avenues. And then you got to fight Crawford after that to be undisputed. But Keith Thurman said he want to be undisputed. Earl Spence said he wants to be undisputed. Sean Porter said he wants to be undisputed. Crawford said he wants to be undisputed. I don't know about Danny, but all y'all can't be undisputed. So it's time to get all these fights going.